Hello, everyone!
Hey,
Welcome! It's Wednesday!
it's Wednesday Night Lights.
And on Wednesday, we talk football.
What? I thought I was doing a sewing class.
Oh no, we're in the wrong place. Oh, it's pretty classic. I always show up for the wrong classes. Sometimes I sit on the wrong classes just to meet smart boys.
That's why I took home ec in high school. It was to be with all the girls.
Smart. Everybody
All
else.
the guys were teasing me about taking home ec, and then I said, look in the window tomorrow at class, and you just keep right on laughing. Well, Corey, it's good to have you back. I just love getting to spend every week with you.
I know. Oh.
You seem very busy.
All of a sudden, I am. I forgot to log in.
So what's that going to do?
It's gonna let me talk to my chat.
Oh, well, you got to do that. I mean, look at all these beautiful people.
All of the beautiful people. What would we do?
Can you hear me okay? I got my mic kind of far away. You said last time you could see my mic.
I could see your mic that last time, but not this time. But
Just
I mean,
creeping in.
it's okay.
Back it up.
Right there is perfect.
Okay.
I actually even moved my microphone over. Typically, it's on the other side of the universe, but I brought it real close for today.
Yeah, okay.
See? Ooh, just is gonna hide right there out of sight, like you don't even know it's there. That's why I was trying to ask you if it sounded better, because I moved this around, moved a whole bunch of stuff around.
All right, so have you solved your problem? You know what? That's technical glitch. Flag on the
Technical glitch. All right, I'll take it.
play. Technical glitch. 5 yards. 5 yards and a sip.
And a sip. All I brought was a water.
Oh, what? Flag on the play, bringing the wrong beverage to the chat.
I didn't know. No one told. Well, okay, right. Let me go grab some alcohol. I guess I'll be right back.
I guess I gotta tell a story or something while you're gone.
Nope. That's not Jumper. This is for donations only.
Oh boy.
Good news is that we have a really cool show for you guys today. Hi, ISO. How we doing? ISO, do we sound equal? You also, Father, I'm getting a loop from you. Some of my audio's coming through. All of a sudden.
Do you want me to test?
Well, I can hear it. You don't have to test.
Denver Broncos? Denver Broncos?
No, it's when I'm talking.
Oh.
It's my audio that's probably coming over a loudspeaker that's being caught by your microphone. Typically, if you just turn me down a little bit.
Me? On my time?
Yep.
Okay, try it.
Okay, how we doing? Okay, much better. Sounds great. Thank you. I was like, I'm hearing myself. You cannot have your 20,000 points refunded. Those are mine. But now I'm
a lot of stuff going on in chat. You know, I think they're anxious.
They are anxious. They're ready to get this show started. They think they got some. Okay, but the loop's gone now, right? And how's the audio levels? Are we equal?
Are we equal?
Hang on, I gotta grab a beer.
Corey, you know, after all this time she's been a streamer, I would have thought that I'm prepared. You know, I'm ready to go. So today I'm trying to move my notes right next to the stream so I don't look down so much. But of course, being old and used to paper, I'm going to continue to do
Just
that.
for you?
Oh yeah, they're right there. Okay.
My one goal is to beat Shamrock. Nothing else matters.
4:11, Corey.
What?
4:11.
What about 4:11?
You're 11 minutes late.
I'm not late.
No.
Oh, I am so sorry.
So excited. You know, I'm so excited.
I noticed.
Oh, there we go. That's better. I'm in my new Wednesday Night Lights studio.
Freshly built.
Fancy graphics, beautiful curtains.
It's a really cool green screen effect you got going on over there. I'm loving it.
I know. I did that. I just, this is better than Blur.
You go into a studio and there's just one green square on the curtain.
I guess I could have trimmed my logo there a little bit, but all right. Well, that's for next time. This is still pre-season. The season hasn't even started yet. So.
Technically, the season starts tomorrow. Tomorrow. Speaking of, bonus points to chat right now. Who's made their picks already?
Well, I forget who it was, but they made all 18, so that's not fair.
Okay, well, Jamfer doesn't count. How do you have any idea what your picks could be in week 17? Oh, Zion did already too, though. Did you make your team yet?
I have not done mine. I wanted to wait till the end of the dog pile to make mine because I'm going to learn so much tonight that it could vastly affect my picks.
Vastly. Okay, well, let's dive into some of this pregame topic.
Okay.
All right, we're at the tailgate of today, right? We're not even in the stadium yet. We're just getting
in the stadium.
We're just
getting the parking lot.
Getting drunk. Cheers.
Like this.
I'll drink to that.
Cheers, Corey.
Cheers. Well, now I gotta drink again. That's just bad luck. You can't cheers and put your glass down. The Broncos and the Raiders are playing this week. You can't be going around throwing bad luck around like it's no big deal. You better drink some of that beer after you say cheers. Andrew?
I did drink.
You drank.
I said cheers, and I took a... Since when do I not drink?
You drank, and then you said cheers.
Cheers, Corey. Cheers, Trigadonia.
Cheers, Andrew. Or to referee you. We need all the luck we can get. You know why? We still got Russell Wilson on the team.
Huh. Yeah, maybe.
All right. So to start us off this week, welcome. Thanks for coming to the show. We're so glad to have you guys. If you missed last week's show, there's 2 ways to find it. I lied, there's 3. First, you can watch the VOD back on Twitch. It is posted. You can find it on YouTube, which is linked, and you can also find it on Spotify. You won't be able to find last week's podcast because it was a visual aid podcast, so I didn't want to put a look at this and click that as my first podcast because then nobody's going to join. So starting tomorrow, you'll be able to find it on Spotify. Who had
the live stream, of course, is much better. Much better.
The live stream is much better because then you can come talk to me and then you can yell at me, and then when you see me say or do dumb things, you can comment live. But even if you're watching this on YouTube, I still want to encourage those comments down below. Tell us what you're thinking. So we did the startup last week. For those of you who don't know what's going on here, welcome to Wednesday Night Lights. We are doing a pick'em pool. This is not gambling. This is a free pool. It doesn't cost any money. Follow the links and go create a team and join us for the season. We will be awarding winners, but it doesn't cost you anything. It's just a free way to get money. Isn't that great? Isn't that what we all want? Free money is my favorite money. Also,
well, if you're losing, it's your favorite money.
Even when I'm winning, it's my favorite money.
Nothing to lose.
Make sure that you guys sign up for your football teams and come make picks and come play the season with us. Did we have something for a best team name? Are we going to vote on best team names?
Well, I think we'll wait until we have, a larger thing. Right?
Okay.
More people in the pool. So, it'd be a nod to the folks that signed up last week and a couple that we got this week. It is, but we want to wait till we get some more teams in there.
All right, then we'll hold the naming contest for maybe a show or two. Follow that link that I just put in chat. If you're watching on YouTube, I don't have anything for you. I'm so sorry. You're going to have to go to WednesdayNightLights.com and find out all the information you need to there. You can pick your teams. All of the how-to guides are there. You can find external links to other sources of where you want to watch, and there are ways to support the stream there. And also the worst photo of me that's ever been taken. So let me know what you think. And if you haven't done it, sign up now. This is it. It starts tomorrow. You got to make your picks. It's Wednesday. It's pick day. It's pick'em day. So we're going to be making picks today. So go pick now.
Right now. or after the dog pile.
Or in like 2 hours.
Or in like 2 hours. Right now, or you can wait a little while.
All right.
Okay, well, Corey, you said that I was excited.
You are. I am too, though.
I am like a kid on Christmas Eve.
Oh.
This is great. I mean, we got the season starts tomorrow. We got the Chiefs and the Lions, and last week we were talking about how the line helps even up games. Well, the Chiefs this week have decided to help even up the game by having Travis Kelce be hurt, so that might give the Lions a chance. But better him than Mahomes, I suppose. So that'll be fun. That'll be our kickoff game, as they say. Mm-hmm. You know, the Super Bowl winner gets a home game on kickoff Thursday and gets to have a standalone game. That's pretty cool. Another exciting thing about this week is it's Raiders week already. I mean, I live for Raiders week.
Week 1.
And, oh my gosh, week 1, right out of the gate. I mean, how do you start the season any better than that? So that's exciting. Our arch rivals.
By winning.
Well, why? Why, Corey? Why do you...
That's how we start off the season with a perfect start. Raiders week, Raiders beat.
Raiders week, Raiders. Okay, good. I like that. So another thing that's got me all excited, I'm going to go a little off topic on the pro football stuff and talk about college football for just 1 second, one team. So CU, Colorado University, has been terrible for years and had a huge upset last week. And they're playing, when I was a kid, growing up in Wheat Ridge, which is kind of along the foothills with Boulder, where CU is, we would go to the Nebraska. Well, we had season tickets, but the big game of the year was Nebraska. You know, I hated Nebraska. You know, huck the Cornfuskers. So anyway, CU is playing Nebraska this week. So I've got my two biggest arch rivals on the same weekend. My head is going to explode.
It's a big week for you. Now, the only thing that could make this week a little tougher for you, I think, would be a little surprise that we're not really going to talk about. But we're just going to let the pain of a question mark.
That'll bring me down, for sure. So yes, very excited. You know, the season starts and all the rivals, and I'm just so excited I can barely stand it. Which means I can hardly wait to do the stream tonight because I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. My heart's racing.
I'm excited too. I've spent all morning getting ready for this.
All morning. Yeah, we've been busy little beavers today, getting our content put together. I had just this list of stuff, and Corey went in and added all this content. And it was great. It was just great. So I suggested to Corey that we do a little thing at the beginning, in this first section called "We Were Wrong and We Admit It." So I'm by no means a authoritative expert on football, and clearly that's true because actually I could probably make a whole segment about things that I said were wrong. But so we'll call out something from last week that I said wrong and clarify it. So I got one, and Corey's got one. So mine is last week when I was talking about the lines, the betting lines, and I said that if a team was favored by 4 and what would happen if they won by exactly 4, I said it would be a tie and therefore you would lose your bet. Well, that is patently false. I couldn't have been more wrong. And I don't know who in Vegas this week was tearing up their push ticket thinking they'd lost their bet and it was all my fault. But no, if you push as a tie, then you just get your money back. So wrong.
You do get your money back.
I admit it. Okay, Corey.
So you do get your money back.
You get your money back. You don't win the bet, but you get your money back.
So why do they even have .0s? Why not make them all half points?
Well, because if you make it a half point, then you've really it's kind of like $3.99. I mean, it's really $4. So if you make it 3.5 points, there's a difference between a 3-point line and a 4-point line, right? I mean, how many games end with 3 points? So if you go to 3.5, you're basically pushing the line up to 4. because 4 is the winning spot. So a half a point can kind of be a whole point. So I guess the answer to that is, and I hope this is at least somewhat true, so I don't have to come on here next week on I was wrong and I admit it, but you're just making it, you're just pushing the line a little bit, and somebody might go, well, I get an extra point now, so I'll take it.
Okay. All right. And so what I've done wrong is that I told you guys I was a professional streamer, which was clearly incorrect because I messed up our audio last week. So hopefully things are sounding a little bit better this week.
The audio, yeah, I had a few friends go, loved the show, but I couldn't hear you, and God, Corey's loud.
Yeah, no, I know. Maybe I should just turn
know,
myself down right now talking about it.
We're
that way
we're
you
both,
know. What if I just talk like this for the rest of my life?
Yeah, right. I've known you a long time, and that's not true. But we love you.
All right.
Be loud. Why not? Be loud. So, I'm loud when the lawnmower won't start, or I smash my finger with the hammer. I'm pretty loud then.
Or anytime you see him hammer a nail in. Just anything with a hammer and a nail.
Oh my God. I don't know what it is. I finally broke down and went out and bought a pneumatic nailer this last weekend.
Oh, very nice.
Which is probably going to give me
my whole life.
2 or 3 years more life.
My whole life I've been waiting to see this happen.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I'm just a terrible nailer. Okay.
The next thing we'd like to do is something fun that Too Rough For You wants to do.
Okay, so we said we had 2 little things. One was we were wrong and we admit it. And hopefully that section will just go away because we're never wrong again. And the other one is this day in history. This day in history. And it could be some interesting fact from yesteryear or yesterlore, or however you want to call it. So the one I picked for today was on September 6th, 1946. Okay, so that's even older than me. So.
Is it though?
The reason why I chose this one, not because it was really old, but because I thought the team names were fascinating. So in 1946, the All-American Football Conference, which doesn't even exist anymore, better known as the AAFC, again, doesn't matter, so forget all that. So they started their regular season play, and the teams were the Cleveland Browns. Okay, we've all heard of the Cleveland Browns. Defeated the Miami Seahawks. The Miami Seahawks. I mean, that blew me away. I was fascinated. I never knew there was a team called the Miami Seahawks. And, I always thought the Seattle fans were so original. And no, they took a team from 1946 and just rebranded it as Seattle Seahawks. Come on.
I love that in the naming of all this, nobody thought of just picking a real bird.
I know, a Seahawk. So anyway, the Browns beat the Seahawks 44-0. So that, I don't know why. Anyway. Okay, I got bonus history. I just couldn't resist.
Okay.
A little while ago, I told you that the winner of the Super Bowl is gifted with the first game of the year on Thursday night, all by themselves at home, as kind of a, congratulations for winning the Super Bowl. And the Chiefs are playing tomorrow night at home.
You mean besides the giant bonus checks that they're awarded?
Actually, the Super Bowl checks aren't that big, especially compared to their salaries. Like 50 grand or something. It's not that much. I mean, even if it was 500,000, it's like a paltry compared to their mega million salaries, at least for most of them.
To clarify, one day, 4 hours worth of work. I would love this job. I think I'd be so good at making $12,500 an hour.
I think when, I'm trying to remember who it was, that their contract worked out to $1 million a pass. So your 4 hours of work is suddenly
overworked. I'm overworked.
Whether it's complete or not, So anyway, so 2013, the Baltimore Ravens had won the Super Bowl, and so here comes the beginning of the year, and in that playoffs that previous year they beat Denver in Denver, and so we were just all disgusted. Freezing cold that day. It was like 10 below zero, and oh my God. Anyway, but the Baltimore Orioles, the baseball team, had a home game on Thursday night, so they couldn't play at home. So the Ravens then had to come to Denver for their first game of the year. Their thank you very much, go on the road, you bastards. And Peyton Manning threw 7 touchdown passes in that game. So, well, that was a pretty good little historical achievement that I don't know where that came from. It just popped into my desk. I don't know how. Well, that's it for bonus history.
All right. Well, that's good. We like little fun facts to start us off. All right. You guys ready to talk about the good stuff?
The good stuff? What's this section called?
Welcome to the dog pile with Wednesday Night Lights.
Welcome to the dog pile.
Silly.
You probably need a sound effect for this, Corey.
I have a dog. All
Let's
right.
get him to bark.
He doesn't bark. He whines and he complains and he sleeps a lot.
Oh, I've heard him bark.
Just go knock on the door. So he'll bark.
Yeah, exactly. That'll do it.
Then he won't stop.
Speaking of which, there was this joke about these 2 dogs were telling one dog says the other one, hey, tell me a joke. And he goes, oh, I know a good one. It's a knock-knock joke. And he goes, how's that going? And he goes, well, knock-knock. And then they both go, woo, and they never finish the joke.
That is the joke. Knock, knock.
Okay, that is the joke. Knock,
I
knock.
think it's cute. All right, so it's the beginning of a football podcast, and I think that we need to start where the team starts. Where do you think the team starts?
Are you asking me or are you asking your fans?
I'm asking you. I'm asking the fans too. Comment below. What do you guys think where do you think a football team starts? Does it start with the head coach? Does it start with the quarterback? Does it start with the guy who owns the team who made all of this possible? Does it start with the guy who started the NFL? Because, I mean, if there was no NFL, then we don't have a job anywhere, right? By a coin toss. That's that's a good one.
I think we have a winner.
I think that's great. Well, that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're not going to talk about the podcast. We are going to talk about quarterbacks. Because when you think of a team, the first thing I think of is who's their quarterback. That's where it starts. That's where the play has to start. Whether he passes the ball off or gives it to anyone else, the ball goes to him first. Well, kind of.
Right.
So,
hey, if you don't have an elite quarterback, you don't have an elite team.
Fair. So let's talk about all the different teams and all their different quarterbacks today.
Well, Corey, last week you mentioned you probably don't know all the quarterbacks. You said that at one point.
Who does? Who knows every starting quarterback right now? Can you just name them?
No, but your whole viewership is going to be an expert in about 45 minutes. So go, read them all.
All right. The first team we're going to talk about is the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know why we're starting there, but that's where the list starts, and that's where we're going to start. All right, first thing we're going to talk about is Dallas Cowboys. Their starting quarterback this year right now is Dak Prescott. He's played with Dallas since he was drafted in 2016. His first year, he filled in for Tony Romo, who was out with injury that year and has been their starting quarterback ever since. This is going to be his 8th year in the NFL. Last year, he threw 23 passing touchdowns. He had 1 rushing touchdown and 15 interceptions, and they went to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I think Dallas fans are just having a hard time with Dak. He's good, but I'm not sure he's going to be the one that leads them to the promised land, and he costs a ton of money. So I don't know if they're thrilled with Dak Prescott, and this year will be, kind of a telltale one for him, but who else? I mean, he's perfectly gifted, so we'll see.
Well, and he had a decent record last year. He didn't have the best record, but after looking at so many different records today, I could tell you that there's a lot of starting quarterbacks whose stats are not this good. So right. When you think about trading someone out,
that's kind of
and they only have 32 options, I mean, where are you going to go? You're in the middle of the pack right now, stat-wise speaking. Right. Next up is the Washington Commanders. Probably have heard of them before, but you knew them as the Redskins. I also just learned today that they are now the Commanders.
Commanders.
They have a brand new quarterback this year. His name is Sam Hell. This is going to be his first year as a starting quarterback. It is his 2nd year in the NFL. He was drafted by Washington last year. He's only ever played 1 NFL game prior to this season. Surprise, surprise, he's never been to the playoffs.
Yeah, especially last year. That 1 game just wasn't enough.
It was not enough.
What's exciting, I think, for Washington fans is that they have new ownership. Yeah, they hated their old owner, Dan Snyder. And so now they've got new ownership. The team was sold this year for $6 billion. And so the team, new ownership usually brings a lot of new energy, excitement, hope for, down the road. But Sam Howell, I don't know how long Sam Howell's going to last. And they have a decent backup quarterback named Jacoby Brissett. Will we see him pretty soon? I mean, a guy that's only got one game under his belt, trial by fire.
I mean, it's not the first time. I mean, he's not a rookie anymore, but, it's not the first time that we've drafted a rookie and we put them in as a starting quarterback. So, he could call that experience to a rookie. At least he's seen one game, right? I don't know if I would say that to Aaron Rodgers, but, there might be some other people you could say that to. Next up, we're going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. They're so popular. Philadelphia Eagles fans are literally everywhere. I don't even understand what they've done to create this fan base, but they've done a really good job. And this year, Jalen Hurts is going to be their starting quarterback. It's his 4th year in the NFL after being drafted in the second round. The second round of what?
Well, most top-tier quarterbacks are drafted in the first round. So, Jalen Hurts is really good, and he was drafted in the second round, which I found interesting. So I threw it in there.
Do you think when he tells people he got drafted in the second round, he goes, "Ooh, that hurts"?
No, not when you won a Super Bowl and you played in the Super Bowl and you'd say, "Pay me my money."
All right. He was drafted by the Eagles in 2022, and yes, he's appeared in the playoffs and he's appeared in a Super Bowl. So I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, came close in the Super Bowl.
Last season, he had 22 passing touchdowns. He had 13 rushing touchdowns and 6 interceptions. That's a lot of rushing touchdowns.
The rushing touchdowns.
Watch out for him. He's going to run right past you straight into the end zone.
Right past you. Well, the problem with running quarterbacks is they get hit a lot harder, when they're out down the field. So, as time goes by and their bodies start to wear out, you kind of want your quarterback, to take it, slide in and not take a hit or diving into the end zone. But 13 rushing touchdowns, that's more than probably 80% of the running backs in the NFL are supposed to be the ones running it into the end zone.
Yeah, I agree. That's crazy.
But he's a long-termer. He's turned into a good quarterback, and it being drafted in the second round, that means 32 teams passed him by.
Every team said, "You weren't worth my first pick," and here we are. He's a starting quarterback for the Eagles. For the Eagles! Man! Woo! There's got to be some teams, like the Jaguars start looking at you. You're like, "Oh, no, I don't know if I really, it's a football career. Career's a career, but, you could be on the Eagles." So, thank God there was a second round of the draft that year. All right, next thing we're going to talk about is the New York Giants. I don't know anything about the Giants.
New York Football Giants.
The only thing I can tell you about the Giants is that is where Eli Manning used to play.
Yeah.
And if it's not that, I don't really know. But I can tell you another quarterback. This year, Daniel Jones is their starting quarterback. He was drafted by the Giants in 2019. It's his 5th year in the NFL, and he did make it to the playoffs last year.
Yeah, go ahead with his stats.
He didn't have an impressive stats. He only had 15 passing touchdowns, 7 rushing, that's impressive, and 5 interceptions. So his interceptions are low, but his passing is low when we're talking about quarterbacks.
Yeah, 3-1. You're kind of looking at a quarterback. You hope they have at least 3 times as many touchdowns as they do interceptions. So anyway, but Daniel Jones, 5th year. That means that it's contract year. He's good, but he's not great, and they're going to have to decide whether they want to sign him because this will be the last year of his rookie deal, and it costs a lot of money to sign him, probably 20 or 30 million a year anyway, and that's a lot of cap space to commit to, and it's time to shine, Daniel.
Well, this could be a quarterback to watch out for. He's got a lot going for him this year, and this is going to be a big contract kind of for him. So, he might be playing extra hard trying to earn that money. So watch out for him. Next up is Green Bay Packers. Huge change to the Packers. They have a new quarterback. His name is Jordan Love. He was drafted in 2020. He spent the last 3 years playing behind Aaron Rodgers. He himself has not played a game that's gotten him into the playoffs, but this will be his first starting season. someone is going to take over for Aaron Rodgers. This is huge. This is probably the biggest change in the quarterback roster this season.
Okay, the Packers have had I don't know any team that's had better luck with quarterbacks between, long-term good quarterbacks that have played for them for a long time. What they've had 2 in 25 years or something more than that, probably.
I mean, between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, what else do you need?
Yeah, well, exactly. So anyway, they had Aaron Rodgers when they still had Favre, and Rodgers was sitting on the bench watching Favre play, or for Favre. I can never figure out how they get that pronunciation. But anyway, the fans love Jordan Love, and if they still love him by game 3, then he's probably started off okay.
All right. Next up is their arch rivals, which would be the Minnesota Vikings. We have Kirk Cousins. He was drafted by the former Washington Redskins, now the Washington Commanders, in 2012. He signed with the Vikings in 2018. So he has some experience. I mean, he's been with this team for 5 years. His last season, he got 29 touchdowns passing. He had 2 rushing and 14 interceptions, and they went to the playoffs. He's not new to the game. He knows what he's doing, and hopefully we're going to see some real plays out of him this year.
Yeah, he's one of those quarterbacks that's always good. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but he just never seems to have quite enough. Just like he's like 99%. I don't know what it is, but he's very good. Just always seems to be lacking something.
Well, hopefully this year we can find out what he's lacking and he can work on it. Not lacking. Just he hasn't acquired it yet. Maybe.
Come on, Kurt, have a good year.
Chicago Bears. Yeah, their starting quarterback this season, is going to be Justin Fields. He was drafted in 2021 by the Bears. This is going to be his 3rd career season, and he's already one of 3 quarterbacks to rush for over 1,000 yards in a season. His very first 1,000 yards, a quarterback rushed 1,000 yards. Big.
Yep.
His very first season, he set the single game record for quarterback rushing.
A lot. Most running backs don't even get 1,000 yards, so that's pretty good.
Well, there's also going to be some complications with that. When you've got a runner on the field, you're watching for it. Last season, he had 17 passing touchdowns, 8 rushing touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. But it still was not enough to get them to the playoffs.
Well, very talented guy. Kind of still waiting on him. A good player, but where's the wins? Show me the wins. Corey, you just said it. If he's got 1,000+ yards of rushing and 8 rushing touchdowns, that's as good as any running back out there. Maybe if it doesn't work out for quarterback, you got to think about switching positions. I don't know, but
if it doesn't work out for him, he can always run off somewhere else.
Kind of a prove-it year, I think, for Justin.
Yeah, Justin, let's see you throw the ball. Prove yourself as the quarterback. You've already proved yourself as the running back. We know you can get the ball into the end zone. But can you throw it in? Can you take the dominant position of a quarterback and get someone else into that end zone? Because that's a lot of time on your play clock. I mean, when you're coming out of that pocket, you're far from that line of scrimmage, that's a long time to get your quarterback over the line and into the end zone. You got to throw that ball, save that clock, and win those games.
And don't get hit.
And don't get hit. It's so risky. Your quarterback you're a first-string quarterback, and you're going to run more than your running backs?
Odds are pretty high, too. There's a lot of capital they have invested in him, so.
Absolutely. And it only takes one bad tackle, and you're out for the season.
Yeah.
So, play it safe. All right, next up is Detroit Lions. Their starting quarterback this season is going to be Jared Goff. He was drafted by the Los Angeles Rams in 2018. Traded in 2021 to the Lions for Matthew Stafford, and this will be his 6th career year. He did not see the playoffs last year, but he did have an impressive record. 29
pretty good stats.
Pretty good stats. 29 passing touchdowns, no runs, and 7 interceptions, which, after looking at these stats, 7 interceptions with 29 completed touchdown passes, that's pretty good.
That's over 4-1.
That's looking real good. Those stats are nice. Now, I'm not sure what's going on with the rest of the team, but they got to work on that because they've got the potential.
Well, the Lions have been improving. they just barely missed the playoffs last year, and Matthew Stafford, who they lost. It's too bad because he was really a great quarterback. But they got a pretty good deal for him, and Jared Goff is no slouch. He seems to fit pretty well in the Lions scheme, so that's okay. But again, he seems like one of those guys that's good, but just seems to be missing something. Just not quite good enough. But like you said, those stats are impressive. What's the problem there? The defense? Why aren't the Lions winning more? We're going to find out a lot about the Lions tomorrow night.
Ooh, tomorrow's Thursday night football game is the Lions. Maybe we can see him. What things I won't expect to see from him? A rushing touchdown? And, man, I don't know. Let's see. I'm excited to kick this season off and see these guys, start seeing these stats come in and see what they worked on this last. What did they do in training camp? Did they train? We're going to find out. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have Baker Mayfield as their first string quarterback. He was drafted by the...
No, that was intentional. That's not a penalty.
No, I know. He was drafted by the Cleveland Browns in 2018, and he was traded to the Panthers in 2022. And near the last season, he switched to the LA Rams. Before that season even ended, he had a new contract with the Buccaneers for this season. This man has no idea what he's doing. He's all over the place. This is a lot of teams, and that's not a good sign. No good quarterbacks switches teams 3 times in a single year. And this hurt him. And he had tons of out time, whether I was reading sources saying that it was coaching, things that were saying it was just complications with management, but he missed a ton of games. I mean, he only had 10 passing touchdowns, 1 running, and 8 interceptions. He had almost as many interceptions as touchdowns last season.
Not too good. So, yeah, good luck with that, Tampa Bay. Are you missing Tom Brady? Maybe not last year Tom Brady, but boy, to go from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield, that's tough. And he was drafted high. He was like a first 5 picks.
So whatever's going on with him, hopefully he could sort this out, because we'd like to see this talent that was behind this draft pick, because he was, like you said, he was picked high. He had a great professional career.
Right.
What happened? Our college career. He had a great college career. What happened? Why was he some star in college and some flop in the NFL?
Well, for quarterbacks, great in college doesn't always translate to great in the NFL.
That's true.
NFL is littered with great college players that busted in the NFL.
Harsh. All right, moving on. We have Carolina Panthers are going to start off Bryce Young. Does anybody recognize that name yet? Because he was the #1 draft pick this year. All eyes on you, Bryce, and you're starting out for the Carolina Panthers. We don't know anything about him. He's a rookie. He's a starting rookie. I mean, obviously he's never been to the playoffs, right? Maybe he went to a game, but he wasn't playing.
Well, a quarterback from Alabama has played in a professional-like atmosphere for some time. We'll see. Does he hit the ground running? And I say that almost literally. We'll find out. Maybe he gets one of those that has, I don't know. He's a rookie. We'll find out.
He is young, so we'll find out, won't we?
He's young.
Next up is the New Orleans Saints. This was a big change in my opinion. I mean, this isn't the choice that I would have made, but that's probably biased. New Orleans are going to take on Derek Carr, and they're bringing him back to a starting quarterback.
Unlike the benching you took in Vegas last year.
Yeah. Well, I was actually reading up a little bit on his benching, and it seems that they did it to protect his record. The agreement was for him to leave the Raiders. Agreed. Right? And they would bench him so that he could leave with the top stats with some great stats coming out of Las Vegas.
No player is ever going to sit and protect his stats. I guarantee it wasn't voluntary.
Listen, we could spin the story any way we want, but it's still not the choice I would have made.
Let's just say if the Raiders did it, it was probably the wrong move.
But hopefully New Orleans saved a fuck ton of money on him, and they're going to spend that on some real talent on their team.
Well, how did he do last year?
He has, but the thing about Derek Carr is when he plays, he does perform. Right? So last year, even after not playing out his whole season, he still had 24 passing touchdowns, no returns, but he did have 14 interception passes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's thrown to his team he's thrown to the other team almost as much as he's thrown to his team. We don't even know whose side he's on.
2-1. It's a little less than 2-1. Yeah, it's not too good.
It's not good. And you're going to the Saints. The Saints, I don't know, man. The Saints have like the most Super Bowl appearances of any team in the NFL, and that's where you're going to take Derek Carr? I don't think he's taking you back.
Well, they ship off Derek Carr, and we'll get to it in a minute, but they bring in Jimmy GQ, Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'll make a bet that Derek Carr has better stats in New Orleans than Jimmy GQ has in Vegas.
Well, that's not fair. Jimmy's got to play with the Raiders.
Well, supposedly he's got an offensive-minded coach in Josh McDaniels, but it didn't work out too well in Denver, so we'll see.
All right. Wait, Josh McDaniels is with the Raiders now?
Yeah, he's their head coach since last year. Now he got run out of Denver.
All right, I'll save my opinions to myself. Atlanta Falcons! Welcome to your new quarterback, Desmond Ridder. I don't think he's new for you, though. Right? This is his first starting season. He was drafted by Atlanta in 2022, so just last year, and this is going to be his second career with the NFL. This, like I said, is going to be his first starting season. He's going to be replacing Marcus Mariota. He hasn't been to the playoffs before, but man, Falcons, they've always been, they've just, I've never seen I don't know, but I don't watch every season, so, don't take me too harsh, but I've always felt the Atlanta Falcons have always been a decent team. When they had Fitzgerald, they were insane. They would just run until the world would end, and just run all the way to the frickin' Super Bowl. But they're I've seen Falcons, they've got a lot of potential, so.
Well, the word out of camp is they're going to have a stacked offense. So will this first year starter, second year player, first year starter. So he's been in practice and camp and stuff for a year now. So we'll see.
We will see. All right, San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy. He was drafted by the Niners in 2022.
Crazy.
Huh?
I say it's just crazy. This guy, wait do you hear this story?
All right, so he was drafted in 2022, so just last year. He was the very last player to be drafted. I mean, just the last. That was it. And they called him Mr. Irrelevant because no one cared.
So the last player taken in the draft
is always Mr. Irrelevant.
Like, we'll just take Frank,
But he wore his title, and for the first half of the year, he was Mr. Relevant. Nobody knew where he was, what he was doing, and then he just took off, and by the end of the season, his team was calling him Mr. Relevant.
Yeah, I'll bet they were. Yeah, he went to the NFC Championship game, so... And may have had a chance to win it, but he his elbow ligament was laying on the field, so he couldn't even throw, and they had no other quarterback. The reason why he was playing is because their other two quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance, both got hurt during the season. So throw in the 7th round rookie, the afterthought, Mr. Irrelevant, and he was a star. How'd he do?
He had 13 passing touchdowns. He had no rushing touchdowns, which is pretty good for a rookie. We don't want to see them running anyways. They're going to just, run right back to college. And only 4 interceptions.
4 interceptions for a rookie. That's impressive.
I mean, I can't imagine the pressure, but being a rookie quarterback standing on that field and you're used to throwing balls and college guys are trying, like maybe they're at a frat party last night before they came onto the field, so maybe they're not paying attention. But I mean, you're surrounded by professionals now, which I'm sure they party too, but hopefully Sunday nights.
Well, but it's interesting to see how he does, because he's the man now. He's not just some bench rider that they had to throw into the game because they had no other choice. And what did he have to lose last year? Nobody expected anything out of him, and so he's just out there flinging the ball. And now this year the expectations are high. You're the starter now. You are the designated guy, and all the pressure now is on you. So we'll have to see how he does. I mean, if his last year is any indication, the Niners could be a force.
Well, and in 1 year, you went from Mr. Irrelevant to the next to being a starting quarterback. I think you just gave hope to every Mr. Irrelevant that's ever existed and yet to come.
You know what? That's true.
Everybody's, I'm sure there's been man after man sitting in the Mr. Irrelevant chair going, wow, this isn't what I thought college was where I was going to go with the NFL. But you made it, right? So you still have all that optimism and hope. But, now you have Brock Purdy to be your hero. He's a starting quarterback after the next year after being Mr. Irrelevant. I think that's pretty big.
He had a pretty nasty injury in the NFC Championship game. It was a detached ligament or something in his elbow and off-season surgery and all of that. But I saw him play a little bit in the preseason. It didn't seem to be bothering him, so we'll find out. I'm pretty excited about seeing how he does. And I don't even really like the Niners. Anybody that beat the Broncos in the Super Bowl is off the list.
Okay, great. Next, we're going to talk about the LA Rams. Their starting quarterback this season is Matthew Stafford. That's what I said?
I thought you said Stanford.
I did. We're just going with it now.
Penalty for correcting for something that wasn't
You forgot
wrong.
to go with it. Just go with the show. It must go on. I'm sorry, Matthew Stafford.
Good.
He was drafted by the Lions in 2009. All right. So, of all of these rookies that we have coming out on the field, I mean, this guy's looking like a seasoned champion. But he was traded to the Rams in 2021, and he had kind of an unimpressive history with the Lions. He was just there. He was a backup. He wasn't doing a whole lot, and then he went to the Rams in 2021. And, I mean, he just went straight to the Super Bowl and won. This is going to be his 15th year in the NFL. Last year, they won last year, and he only had 10 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing, and 8 interceptions.
Well, actually, the Rams didn't have a very good year last year. That was the year before they went to the Super Bowl and won.
Correct. Sorry, I am off by a season. Yeah, so that was in 2021 that they went to the Super Bowl and won, and then 2022, I don't know what happened. Uh-oh.
I don't know what happened.
I'm hoping this isn't the Stafford curse. We're hoping that whatever it was, it's worked out of his system. He's got another, he's going right back to the playoffs this year. He's trying hard.
Yeah, it's almost too bad he didn't stay with the Lions because the Lions got good right after he left, and he had hung with them for the first, 13 years of his career. And it wasn't a good career, not from his performance level, but just the team, it was just not a great situation. So then he gets traded for Jared Goff, who's at the Lions now, and wins the Super Bowl. So, I'm sure he was pretty happy about that.
I don't know what would make you happier than 13 years on in mediocrity to straight to the Super Bowl victory line.
Now, one thing I remember most about Matthew Stafford is he would get just murdered in the backfield. It's just murdered, and I don't know if he ever missed a game. He was just like Mr. Tough Guy.
Well, someone's got to pay the bills. Next on our list is the Arizona Cardinals. We're looking at Kyler Murray as a starting quarterback. He was drafted by the Cardinals in 2019, so just about 4 years ago. It was also, the year prior, was drafted by the Oakland A's in 2018, making him the first player ever to be drafted in the first round of both sports.
Oh, I didn't know that. See? Corey, you're just a wealth of information.
I try to be. So, they've got a thrower, okay? If you're a first-round draft pick in the NFL and you're a first-round draft pick in the MLB, I want to see you throw that ball. It's got to be scary, right? Trying to catch, whoo! I've seen men throw baseballs. I don't want to see anybody throw a football that hard or that fast. You're just going to be knocking out his running backs in the back lines. You're going to go up for a ball, and it's not even going to be a player knocking you over. It's going to be you catching the ball. It's knocking you over.
He didn't have the greatest year last year, but
that's okay because we all have off years. We can't win every Super Bowl. So last year he only had 14 passing, 3 rushing, and 7 interceptions. Not great, not terrible, but we could do so much better. We've got high hopes for him. We've got a lot of talent in this man. He could literally go do any sport professionally.
I can't off the top of my head name any Arizona receivers, so I'm not sure they're going to have the receiving core to give them a great year this year. But
But he was, I mean, they got him, in 2019? They've got a couple years to work with him and, use these draft picks in the next year or so, if they're not doing well, to get their quarterback into a position in a team that they can use to get them to the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah, Kyler, he really good, got drafted, came out of the gates, amazing, playing well, and then held out for a contract with 2 years to go in his existing contract. Big holdout, big deal, wanted tons of money, got lots of money, and that next year wasn't that good. Sometimes when the guys get paid, they don't play that well, and it just could have been just timing with the team and all that.
Do you think it's timing, or do you think it's being human and collecting probably the largest check you've ever seen?
Right. Well, I don't. Maybe a little both. I don't know. I don't want to judge the guy, but you get paid. You're getting paid to perform, and 14 touchdowns. That should be at least double that.
Yeah, I mean,
if you don't have any receivers, if you don't have any players around you, then what are you going to do?
Then that's when you recruit Mr. Runner over here. Who the hell was that?
The Cardinals are projected to finish dead last in the league this year. So
oh no, Cardinals!
It's not going to be a great year for old Kyler.
Sorry, Kyler. This might be a rough season for you, but what did we just say? We just said you've got the next 2 years before your contract's up to get something working. I mean,
right.
If you guys are projected to take last, there's a lot to learn. I mean, you have the whole season to, work on your fundamentals. Go back to what this team is lacking and really start building yourself from the ground up. I mean, you're in dead last. What are you going to lose? So let's see. Maybe Kyler just comes out and just slaughters the competition. We don't know yet.
I don't know. I mean, I just don't think he has any. I think that's like
he better hit the treadmill. He's got a lot of running this season.
If he has a good year, kudos to him, because he will have played lights out to do that. He'll literally have to run down the field and hand the ball to whoever they got playing.
You're gonna see him offense throwing the ball. You see him on defense. He's gonna be covering the line. Special teams running up and kicking the ball. He's like, "We're going. We're out of here."
He led the league in punting. Yeah.
He's the first quarterback ever to lead punts.
Yeah.
That's false. That was just a joke. Next, we're going to take a look at the Seattle Seahawks. We've actually already said who this quarterback is. It is going to be Geno Smith.
Geno Smith. Everybody last year, I just laughed. But anyway, go ahead. Tell me about Geno.
That's okay. He's a longtime career. He was drafted by the Jets in the second round of the 2013 draft. He was shipped off to the Giants in 2017 and then to the Chargers in 2018. He's found a new life in Seattle in 2019, and he's had a pretty good year. And last year making the playoffs after Russell Wilson was traded to Denver and beating him in the first game.
Why? Why do you have to do this to me? Why do you have to make me suffer? You could have done the whole day without talking about that. But go ahead. It's fair.
But he had a good record. He had 30 passing touchdowns. He had 1 running and 11 interceptions.
Pretty good day.
30 passing. That's pretty good. A good day. Wow. That would be a crazy day.
I've had better days. So, what I think is really impressive about those stats, I mean, if that was, some third-year guy that was drafted, first in the as a rookie 2 years ago, you'd be going, expect a lot more out of him. But boy, I don't think anybody had any expectation for Geno Smith last year, and he was great. I mean, Seattle made the playoffs, and that they were, because Seattle fans loved Russell Wilson and hated to see him go, and they're like, oh God, Geno Smith, how did this happen? And then, like you just said, the first game of the year was against the Broncos. Here comes Russell Wilson to show them who's who, and then gets beat. So, good job, Geno.
In case you were wondering, he did make it to the playoffs with that impressive record.
He did. Oh, who is next? Your favorite guy?
I don't have any problem with him, but I do have some jokes that go with him. Not him, but the team. Next, we're going to take a look at the New York Jets. Does anybody know? Do you guys know the news yet? Aaron Rodgers is playing for the Jets. Surprise, he's a starter. Well,
it's so weird to see him in a Jets uniform, but go ahead.
It is weird, but the Jets are going to do their classic reach out quarterback retirement program where they reach out to whoever the Packers have and they bring them on for their finale. And they're going to be good. They're going to have Aaron Rodgers for a few years, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. But
the Jets are like the old folks' home for Green Bay Packers quarterback.
They just take them on in. It's just interesting. But let's talk about Aaron Rodgers for a second because you've heard the name. He's been in every State Farm commercial you've ever seen. But he was drafted in 2005. He's had a long career in the NFL. He was backup for Brett Favre for the first 3 years of his career, and then he was starting quarterback, and he's been ever since. He's had all kinds of records and awards to him, but he currently has the best touchdown interception ratio and the lowest career interception percentage. In 2020, he had 48 passing touchdowns with only 5 interceptions. We were talking about skill.
I'd take that all day long.
I would make this trade no matter who my quarterback was if you start showing me numbers like this. What else are you going to do?
Well, the only thing is, he's at the end of his career. That doesn't mean he's going to have a bad year. It just means you're not going to get a lot of years out of him. So... but I tell you, we got Peyton Manning for 5 years, and he took us to 2 Super Bowls, and I was pretty darn happy about that. But does Aaron Rodgers have 5 years in him? I don't know, but the years they get will probably be pretty good ones. The Jets.
His record isn't quite as impressive as 2020, but last year he did have 26 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing, and 12 interceptions. The Jets themselves did not make it to the playoffs. But, they've got Aaron Rodgers now, so better watch out. The Jets could be in the playoffs this year.
Out. Well, the Jets have just been a hard luck team trying to get a quarterback. They've had high draft picks, they've had highly drafted quarterbacks, and they just, not altogether different than what Denver's had to go through for the last, ever since Peyton Manning left, trying to find a quarterback that can lead your team, and they got one, so we'll see.
All right, let's see what you can do, Jets. All right, this is going to be my favorite starting quarterback of the season. And it's not for anything other than his name because it's I haven't heard it yet, so
I'm going to tease it. Let me tease it.
Okay.
Because I'm so glad that you are doing the quarterbacks because I don't have to try to pronounce this guy's name. And I bet you your chat can start to figure out who we're talking about. But we listened to the enunciation like 10 times and I still couldn't do it. So good luck, Corey. Go. Who's the Miami Dolphins quarterback?
Tunga Viola.
Hula. Tunga Viola. I still can't do it. Tunga Viola. Hula Tunga Viola. Which does not look like how it'd be pronounced. I'm trying to go Tag O Viola. Anyway, go ahead. How do you do?
I don't know. That was my best guess. Oh my God, it's not that hard. It is hard when you've never heard it and you've only seen it written. He was drafted in 2020 by the Miami Dolphins. He's brand new. He's only been in this season. This is going to be his 3rd year. This will be his first starting season was in 2021, so this is not going to be his first start. Last season, he had 25 passing touchdowns, 0 running, and only 8 interceptions. It's a pretty good record.
Yeah, he's a good quarterback.
And he took the Dolphins to the playoffs. I guess you could say you want to win the Super Bowl, but I think that getting your team to the playoffs is kind of the goal every year. Are you good enough to go to the competition part of this? Because you're already competing tomorrow the competition starts, right? But then the next step, can you go to the real competition and fight for that first place? So, and he did it last year?
Yeah, he's a good player. Well, he missed a bunch of games last year, too. So, I think what stands between him and greatness, because he is a really, really good quarterback, he could probably be an elite quarterback. But what's standing between him and greatness is injuries. And not just any injuries. He's had some pretty bad concussions. He had 2 last year. And concussions are bad news, especially he had one. Oh, man, I don't know if anybody saw the play, but he got kind of hit in the gut as he was throwing it, and his head just, oh my God, it just bounced off the stadium floor, and he was out for a long time. So durability is going to be his problem, and I sure hope those concussions don't come back and not only shorten his career, but shorten his life.
Well, you got to be really careful. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a book called League of Denial, but it's written about the NFL and the post-career of the injuries that these players sustain. And concussions is number one. The scariest thing that happens to football players. Yeah, they tear ligaments and they roll their ankles, but concussions, every time they take a concussion, it's shown to shorten their lives. So it's a very dangerous contact sport, and hopefully he's going to protect himself a little bit better.
Yeah.
And if he can't, thank God he brought a team with him.
Yeah. Okay, who we got next?
New England Patriots starting quarterback.
Oh, Tom Brady, right?
That's who it used to be. Not quite. This time it's going to be Mac Jones. He was drafted fifth.
Who?
Mac Jones. Is that not right? Did you?
No, I've never heard of him.
Are you just? Is this a bit? I was like, I feel like I've done so much research, and now I'm feeling very nervous. Okay.
No, you've done a fine job.
He was drafted in the first round of the 2021 draft by the Patriots, so he's been with them this whole time. This is all he knows. Many thought that he would get picked third by the 49ers, but they decided to grab Trey Lance instead, so...
What's Trey Lance doing? Not too good.
Last year he had 14 passing, 1 rushing, and 11 interceptions, and they did not make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, you know what I say about those stats?
Ooh. Sorry, Mac.
I wonder if they missed Tom Brady. I mean, he's
you can't fill the shoes of Tom Brady and give us stats like that. We're not impressed. You're on. Yeah, we know this team with a good quarterback is good.
Yeah, well, we talked about Tom Brady for 16 years, so it's about time they have a yawner for a change.
All right.
So at the end of the thing, we'll ask who's Mac Jones, and nobody will know who he is. Anyway, go ahead.
Still nobody will know. Next up is the Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen. Many were very skeptical about a player from a lower division college. He came from Wyoming. But he was picked 7th by the Bills in 2018 after trading up with Tampa Bay to get him. Sorry, Tampa. Could have had Josh Allen. Last year, he threw for 35 passing, 7 rushing, and 14 interceptions, and they went to the playoffs.
Well, and that kind of goes back to Aaron Rodgers in a way. So here Tampa Bay had Tom Brady because they got him from the Patriots, and they're going to have him for a few years. But it was the end of his career. He wasn't going to be with Tampa Bay for a long time, so they passed on a quarterback. And, where are they at now? So, sometimes having a really good quarterback at the twilight of his career can cost you in the draft.
Next, we're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns. I'd also like to say that I don't think that people who are under allegations for certain things should not be allowed to perform in professional sports. I think that mainstream needs to really pull back and tighten their leashes on who they're allowing in, regardless of their skill level. Because there's a lot more about being a person.
Before you move on to the Browns, did you do Josh Allen's stats?
I did.
Okay. All right. 35 and 14, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, huge.
Sorry, I may have talked over you, so go ahead.
I think you're doing great. So back to Cleveland Browns. Their starting quarterback this year is Deshaun Watson. Houston drafted him in 2017, and they traded him after being suspended for alleged sexual abuse allegations. Later, was traded to Cleveland for just like a boatload of draft picks. They got 3 first-round draft picks for this guy. But here's the problem, is he's in and out of suspension. He can't stay on the field long enough to even get a reasonable record going for him, unless you're talking about jail. Last year, all he did was he played 6 games only. He had 7 passing, 1 rushing, and 5 interceptions. Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, he hadn't played for 2 years, right? Because he'd been on suspension for these sexual abuse allegations, which I don't know if you get suspended for 2 years on allegations, but we'll let the courts decide that. But nonetheless, how do you feel about a guy that's 23 counts of suspected sexual abuse?
23 counts!
Yeah, and
How
what
old
does
is
he
he?
get?
He gets a
And
check
what does he get?
he gets a check for $230 million.
230 million, all guaranteed. So the
Absolutely
Browns,
disgusting. We are not supporting Deshaun Watson this year. We can support the
well,
Browns.
and I kind of like the Browns. The Browns have good fans, and they really got hosed many years ago. They were great fan base, loved their team. They've been in the NFL for forever, and then they just kind of up and leave in the middle of the night and become the Baltimore Ravens. So that's harsh. As a fan, I can totally relate to those guys and how awful that would be if the Broncos moved to wherever, Oakland, and became the Oakland Seagulls. I would just die. But they were bad, and then they get this really good. I mean, Deshaun Watson's a great quarterback. He's really good.
If we separate the person from the player, he's a great player.
Yeah, the franchise invested a ton of money, a ton of draft picks, and a tarnish on the reputation of the franchise. So, man, this guy better win him some Super Bowls, or I think, in my opinion, it was a huge mistake. I
don't care if this man takes you to every Super Bowl for the next 10 years. He's a mistake and not someone to put in I mean, how many little boys want to grow up to be quarterbacks?
All of them. Nobody goes, I'm going to be the greatest offensive lineman.
And so you're looking at 32 role models, and one of them is a sexual abuser? Come on, America. The NFL can be better than this. We don't need this. Yeah. So we're going to move on to better teams. They might not have better quarterbacks, it's skill-wise, but at least they're better people. Next is Pittsburgh Steelers. And they're... What was that?
What?
You were Steelers.
Which is Steelers, I mean, God, Steelers fans are everywhere. I mean, a home game in Denver, half the stadium's full of Steelers fans. They travel well, that's for sure. But anyway, I don't mean to interfere with your story.
That's okay. So Kenny Pickett is going to be their starting quarterback. He was a first-round pick in 2022, a fan favorite since he's played college in Pennsylvania, and this will be his second year playing. But this is going to be his first year starting. Yeah. So keep in mind that his stats from last year, he was not a starting quarterback, so we're not going to judge him as harshly on his record as we would others, because he doesn't have as many games. He doesn't have the time on the field that these other starting quarterbacks have to make their stats impressive. So he still has 7 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing, but he does have 9 interceptions. He was a rookie then, and he's brand new coming out as a starter. So, Kenny Pickett's got a lot to learn this season about how the NFL works.
Yeah, he wasn't Brock Purdy coming off the bench, but 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. You're not getting any contracts for that. But the fans love him. Like you said, he's a local hero, having played at Pittsburgh, and not just the professional team, but the college, University of Pittsburgh, and so the fans love him. And hopefully he has a great year, because he's a cool dude, and as much as I don't really care for the Steelers that much, just because they're good and beat us in the playoffs a bunch of times. So, but anyway, I'm rooting for Kenny. I'm a young kid. I'm rooting for all of them.
There's a lot of young people coming out. Most of these quarterbacks have been drafted since 2019.
Sure. Yeah, they're all pretty new. And I tell you, this year, the quality of quarterback play in the college ranks this year is phenomenal. So next year's the next 2 years' quarterback class could be just spectacular. So all the bottom teams that don't have very good quarterbacks are going to wind up with great quarterbacks, and it's going to be pretty exciting. Go ahead.
We could have a big flip next draft. The next season could be huge. Bringing so much talent out hopefully translates onto the field. Next, we're going to talk about someone you probably know. Cincinnati Bengals starting quarterback, who's Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Cool. Joe Cool, yeah. He was picked first overall in 2020. Huge. As a Heisman Trophy winner, and he started right off the bat as a rookie. A starting rookie. That's huge. And he's doing great. His interceptions, he's really got to get those under. They're a little high. So he had 35 passing touchdowns. He had 5 rushing touchdowns. So I mean, he got 40 touchdowns last season. He had 12 interceptions. It's a little high.
A little high, but still pretty close to 4-1. So that means you're flinging the ball a lot.
Well, and I was going to say, and I'm thinking that's coming a lot with, he's got a lot of passing touchdowns. So when you're throwing the ball, there's a lot of risk in it because it could get intercepted. And they went to the playoffs last year.
Yeah, well, they've given the Kansas City Chiefs a run for their money in the AFC, and we'll talk about the structure of the NFL next week. But they've kept the Chiefs in check. If the Chiefs don't get by Cincinnati, they don't win Super Bowl. So, Corey, do you know what the Heisman Trophy is?
Nope.
The Heisman Trophy is given to the supposed best college football player.
All right.
Almost always, it's football player of the year. MVP of college. Almost always a quarterback, not always, but usually.
Next, we're going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens. Their starting quarterback this season is going to be Lamar Jackson. He won the Heisman Trophy as well, but he did it in his sophomore year of college.
That's tough.
Sophomore year. I mean, what was he, 19? I mean, that's huge. And you won the best player in all of college? That's crazy.
Yeah, he's 18 months out of high school, and he's winning the Heisman Trophy.
Crazy. I mean, congratulations. That's huge. I bet your party drank out the liquor store next to him because that's pretty impressive.
He wasn't of legal drinking age, but
no, his parents did.
Oh, okay. Knowing that he was going to get the multi-millions in the NFL.
Yeah, he can win the Heisman Trophy, but he's still not old enough to celebrate it. That's okay. But so lots of potential. I mean, this guy coming out into the draft was like God's gift to NFL. Like, if this guy's doing what our seniors were doing 2 years ago, he should come out NFL ready, and that just really wasn't our case. Yeah. And he was the last pick of the first round of the draft, which is crazy because I would think that somebody coming out with talent would be higher value, but maybe they were just thinking, well,
31 teams passed.
31 teams passed. But, he did get his starting position, so good job. He had 17 passing, 3 rushing, and 7 interceptions, and he did go to the playoffs last year.
Yeah, his problem, not altogether different than Tula, last name to be said later. Injuries is his problem, and he's kind of a running quarterback. I mean, this guy, he just flies like the wind, but he's missed a third of the games of the last 2 years, so he's had trouble staying on the field. And if your star is not on the field, you're going to have a hard time winning games. So that would probably be,
he's definitely not going to be my first pick.
He won the MVP 1 year, so he certainly got the talent. But he's got to recapture that and stay on the field. Maybe a little less running, or more sliding might be a better. Sliding means don't get hit. Quarterbacks can go down on the ground and not get hit.
Yeah, I gotta pull him back from those injuries a little bit. I mean, 30 game in 2 years. I wouldn't be putting him on my fantasy team.
He got paid this year too. Wow, paid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson is going to be their starting quarterback this year. He was the 4th pick in this year's draft, so pretty high up. 4th.
Rookie.
4th.
Yeah, 4th.
It's pretty crazy. So it's his first year. He doesn't have any stats for us to give you, but that's what next year's for. And if he's ever been to a playoff, God no, because he's never even been to an NFL game yet.
For Indianapolis Colts, at first it seemed like they were going to be the luckiest team in the world because they had Peyton Manning for all these years and was great. And
he was great.
And had to go. But because Peyton Manning missed that whole year because of his neck injury, they were terrible. So they got to draft first in that year's draft, and they got this quarterback named Andrew Luck, who was a highly touted, a consensus #1 pick. And so you're going, oh my God, they go from Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck. Well, Andrew Luck, retired early. He only played 5 years, I think, and he had some injuries, he had some concussions, and he said, you know what, I got paid. I'm going to save my body. I'm out of here. So at first I thought the Colts were the luckiest quarterback team in the world, but they got a little jobbed on Andrew Luck. So good luck to Anthony. I hope he does well. He's a rookie. Let's go, man.
Well, and I think that's. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say I don't think he had a great camp, and they're going to throw him in as a starter as a rookie. Their backup is a guy named Gardner Minshew. He's kind of a career backup player, but he's one of those just electric guys. He just comes out on the field, he comes off the bench, he wins games, and then you don't see him for 3 more games until somebody gets hurt. But I don't know how long he's going to be the starter, but I don't wish him any ill will.
Well, at least he can always say he got to start.
Yep.
Next up is somebody I've never even heard of. The Houston Texans. No, I'm just kidding. I've heard of them. Their quarterback is...
I haven't heard of them either.
Their starting quarterback is a guy named C.J. Stroud. He was drafted second overall this year by Houston. Is that true? Oh, I see. Never mind. Okay. So he was a rookie last year, and he's never been to a playoff. We don't have a whole lot to say about him because he's brand new. He's just a baby.
Yeah. Texans may not have a great year, and if they don't, I mean, they're probably going to draft high, and they can take another swing at another quarterback. But the Texans are the ones that had Deshaun Watson when this whole sexual abuse thing came up. So the Texans maybe did the right thing and shipped him off and said, okay, you're out of here. And we'll take all the draft picks. Not only did they get 3 first-round draft picks, they also got like a 3rd and a 4th or something. I mean, it was a truckload of draft picks. So you got rid of a guy that is tarnishing your franchise, and you got a ton of draft picks. And I wouldn't be surprised if Houston is really, really good. I mean, who knows? CJ may be amazing, and we don't know. But I'll bet you if he's got the talent and he gets a little time, then maybe he could be great.
All right, CJ, good luck this season. Tennessee Titans starting quarterback is Ryan Tannehill. He was
Ryan
Tannehill. Yeah. Drafted by Miami in 2012. He was traded to Tennessee in 2019 and became a starter halfway through his first season on the team and led them straight to an AFC championship game.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he and Derrick Henry were a dynamo. But go ahead, Corey. You got some stats to tell us.
Not very impressive stats, but like we said, it was only halfway through a season, so he had 13 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing, and 6 interceptions last year, and he did not make it to the playoffs.
I'm not exactly sure how it all came about that they wound up trading Ryan and then getting Tua. I'm not sure what happened there. Did Ryan Tannehill win a comeback player of the year one year? I think maybe he did. So maybe he was injured, and I'm not exactly sure what the circumstances were there. But Ryan was always a pretty decent quarterback. He wasn't elite, but he wasn't crap. He wasn't Derek Carr. Anyway, but one of the things that really helps a quarterback is having a really good running back. And man, do they have a good one in Derrick Henry. And man, that guy is like a truck. So that helps Ryan a lot.
Well, good luck for Ryan, because that could be a powerhouse coming through. They could just be taking it all away. You never know. We're gonna talk about Jacksonville Jaguars. They have a starting quarterback named Trevor Lawrence, the first player chosen overall in 2021. This is going to be his 2nd career with the NFL. Last season, he had 13 passing, 2 rushing, and 6 interceptions, and he made it to the playoffs.
Jacksonville in the playoffs, that's not something you hear every year, and good for him. He was one of those kind of generational quarterbacks that came out of Clemson, and everybody knew consensus #1 pick. So whoever had the first worst record that year, because that's how the draft works in the NFL. If you're the bottom team, you get to draft first, and the second worst team drafts second, etc. But just so Jacksonville had that pick, and man, any team in the NFL would have given. I don't even know what they could have gotten for that pick. But Trevor came out as a highly touted, generational quarterback. And has he lived up to that? Well, maybe not, from that. But they, got a bad team to the playoffs. And boy, Jacksonville just had some, they've had some coaching problems, and anyway, so maybe Trevor really gets it going. He's a cool guy. He's got that long hair that hangs out of his, he looks like he belongs on a surfboard in Southern California. But cool dude. Wish him luck. I'm sure he'll be great.
Well, and that's kind of an interesting thing you say. So, yeah, he was first chosen overall. So, yeah, he went to the worst NFL team, right? But so you're sitting up there and you're watching these signing bonuses. You're fresh out of college. You're at the draft. You just can't believe it that you're there. Hoping you get picked, because more than who's picked go to the draft, right? So, I mean, just because the draft ends doesn't mean there's not still players hoping to be drafted. That's where they start and they go and become a free agent. But to be picked last, right? Not the very last, not Mr. Relevant, but to be picked last in a round might hurt that signing bonus, but man, you just got drafted to the Super Bowl champions. At least when you're getting signed on, hopefully you're going into a team whose shit is together, because you're going to get that huge signing bonus being Trevor Lawrence going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, but you're going to work for it. Because you've gone to the worst team in the NFL, and you know that they need help. And they might need your help specifically, but it's going to be a long season.
Jacksonville for many, many, many years has gotten really high draft picks. So they should be fantastic. I mean, they should have a roster full of first-round picks, but they just never seem to live up to their potential. So... well, I'd ask you this, Corey. You said, getting drafted to a team that's like right on the precipice of winning it all is great, because, you get to, go to a team that's really good and hopefully win the Super Bowl that year, as opposed to being drafted to a team that's at the bottom. And would you rather be at the bottom and be the guy that helps build them up and eventually win the Super Bowl? I mean, which one of those two things would give you more personal satisfaction?
That's a good question. Is taking on that? Would you rather be the star of a bad team, or be the bad player on the star team?
Well, I mean, just being part of something that gets built around you. That's going to be the key with Jacksonville. You've got a great quarterback. Now, are you going to build around him? Are you going to get him receivers he can throw to? Are you going to get him an offensive line that can block for him, so he's not thrown from, from behind 300-pounders trying to get a pass out there? That'll be the key. Do they build around him?
Well, let's just hope that Trevor Lawrence is tall enough to just see over the line, so he knows where he's throwing the ball, and they don't have to put him on stilts like some other quarterbacks. We're talking about Russell Wilson here.
Yeah, I know. Why? We just trade Russell Wilson for Trevor Lawrence? That'd be awesome. But I'm not going to go there, because I'm not ready to give up on the guy. Go ahead. Give us the lowdown.
All right. Well, he was chosen first overall. That's great news. And this is going to be his second career with the NFL. Last season he threw for 13 yards. He ran for 13 touchdowns, not yards, please God. And he had
13 yards.
Woo! And 2 rushing touchdowns with only 6 interceptions. So he's 2-1. He's as of now, yeah, I guess. But like we said, he's coming into Jacksonville as a first pick. So I don't know if that's fair to put on him. But Jacksonville's got some work to do, and they've got a grueling path in front of them to come back and be a good team in the NFL again.
Wait, for
Jacksonville?
You said Jacksonville.
Jaguars, yeah.
I thought we moved on to Russell.
No, I was just talking about Russell for half a second.
Oh, okay.
I was saying hopefully Trevor was tall enough to see where he's going to throw the ball.
Trevor's tall.
Yeah.
Russell's not.
I know.
Okay. Back on track. Andy's screwing everything up. Well, I got a topic for next week, so I was wrong.
All right, that's a flag. Go ahead and drink for that.
All right. Penalty flag.
But we've come to the team that Andrew's waited all night to talk about, and that's the Denver Broncos. And if you haven't been able to figure out by the podcast so far, that their starting quarterback will be Russell Wilson. He was originally drafted by Seattle in 2012, as most of us know. And he was traded to Denver last year for 3 first-round picks. Ugh.
Give up a lot.
Rough year for the Broncos. Big changes to the team, though. So can Russell Wilson win back the support of Denver fans?
Well, that's a great question. I think when Russell came to Denver last year, a lot of things went wrong. And part of them were his fault, and part of them were the team structure's fault. So the part that was his fault was, I think he came riding into town like he was hot shit. You know, he was the Let's Ride and the commercials, and he had his own personal. Most teams have, well, all teams have a quarterback's coach, and he brought in his own, which is weird. He had an office, a player with an office in the training, facilities was weird. So I think he kind of came in thinking, oh, I'm great and I can just do whatever I want and I'll be great. Well, it didn't work out that way.
Well, I hope I hope he was using that office to hide from the team, from the embarrassment that he brought to the Broncos last year.
Yeah, but it wasn't all his fault, too. The parts that weren't his fault is we had not very good coaching.
Well, unfortunately, we had what was the potential of a great coach. Somebody who wasn't quite ready to take on the head coach position, I don't think. Never making an actual play before the season started is a huge flaw to a team. You have a head coach who's never made a play?
Well, and, he had to, so a head coach typically is the one who's going, he's got the little play thing over his mouth so the TV can't see what he's calling, and he's calling in the plays, and he's watching the clock and calling timeouts if he has to, and he's the manager of the game, right? Well, he just had a really difficult time doing that. He finally had to give play calling duties off to his offensive coordinator. We had a ton of delay of game penalties because we weren't getting the play in fast enough. So we're not getting the play in fast enough. So Russell Wilson's hurrying in the huddle, hurrying at the line, lots of false start. It was just the whole thing was a shit show last year. So now we have a really elite coach who wasn't really hired to fix Russell Wilson, because the question is, does he really need to be fixed, or does he just need structure around him? So he's done a lot of good things. He needs a coach. He needs a good offensive system. He needs to be put in his place a little bit. No more office space. No more personal quarterback coach. Go lose some freaking weight.
This isn't the Russell Wilson show. This is the NFL.
Yeah, this is a team sport. So anyway, we'll find out. I think this year will be when we find out if Russell Wilson is still the shit, or if we've made a terrible, terrible mistake. Enough about that. I just it's a bruise. It hurts. Move on.
Last season, he only had 13 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing, and 6 interceptions.
No, it's not 2-1. It's not horrible, but 13 touchdowns, really, we need 3 times that, especially with Patrick Mahomes and all these guys in our division.
And unfortunately, the Broncos did not make the playoffs.
Badly.
Next, we're going to talk about somebody who did make the playoffs. Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. Man, this guy, he's just... This guy. He was drafted in 2017 when the Chiefs traded him with Buffalo for their 10th pick, giving up 2 first rounds and 1 third. He was named the starter in 2018. That year, he threw for over 5,000 yards and became the only player in history to throw more than 5,000 yards in the same season in both the NFL and college, as well as joining Peyton Manning as the only other player in NFL history to throw over 5,000 yards and get 15 touchdowns in a single season. I'd say that trade was well worth it. Last season, he threw for 40...
One of the best trades ever.
I mean, yeah. I think that the Super Bowl was a little cheesy with their no drug policy and putting him back on the field, but that's a topic for another time. But, over the season, regular season, he threw for 41. We're not talking about postseason when we're giving these stats. We're only talking about the regular season to not obscure the scale here. 41 passing touchdowns, 4 running, and 12 interceptions.
Yeah.
They were the number 1 seed going into the playoffs, and they were the Super Bowl winners.
Yeah.
I mean, those are
good Super Bowl.
If we're looking at just quarterback stats, he has the best stats, and the best stats for the quarterback won the Super Bowl.
Well, not only the most important stat is wins, right? So he certainly got those over the course of his career, and what sucks is that he's going to be in our division, our conference, which we'll talk about divisions and conferences next week, for the rest of my life. And I did the idea that I'm going to have to deal with this guy for the next 10 years, 15 years. It's demoralizing. That's what it is.
He's a great quarterback, and I hope that contract ends, and I hope he comes on over to the Broncos, because I'd love to have him.
It'll never happen, but we'll see. You never know. Who would have thought Aaron Rodgers would be a Jet 5 years ago?
If you would have said it 2 years ago, nobody would have been like, okay, what is he, Brett Favre? And then that would have been the end of it. All right, next up are the Las Vegas Raiders. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be their starting
Las Vegas, Oakland, LA. I mean, how many cities is this team going to go to?
Well, they went to Las Vegas, and, Vegas has been wanting a sports team for a long time. So I would say, regardless of where Jimmy goes, I think that the Raiders are going to stay in Vegas for a while. But he's been around. He was originally drafted by the Patriots in 2014. He was traded to the 49ers in 2017, and then he was traded to this year to Vegas. Fitting for a well-traveled player to join a well-traveled team.
Yeah, exactly. 3 teams, and both of them have 3 cities and 3 teams. The Patriots have gotten very lucky with their second streak. So Josh McDaniels is the head coach of the Raiders, and
I'm gonna stop you real quick. I'm gonna finish this.
Okay. Cut you off?
You did a little bit, but it's okay.
Hold on.
Last season he did. Yeah. Last season he had 16 passing, 2 rushing, and 4 interceptions, and they did not make it to the playoffs. So sad.
Oh.
Sorry. Go ahead.
But that wasn't. Was that Garoppolo's stats from the 49ers then?
Yes.
Yeah, that must have been.
The stats follow the quarterback.
He only played. I don't even know how many games he played. It wasn't that many. So those aren't bad. I mean, 16 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. That's 4-1. That's pretty darn good. And he didn't play a whole season because he was hurt. Right? Anyway, so can I go now? Penalty free? Patriots have been very lucky with their backup quarterbacks because Tom Brady would miss a game here or there. And because they were so good, then the first one was Matt Castle, who came off the bench when Brady blew out his knee that one year, had a good year. And so then they got to trade him when Brady was okay. They weren't going to keep this backup quarterback because now he's, great and he's got draft capital. So they trade him. I forget who they traded him to. God, did he wind up playing for the Niners? They might have. But anyway, so they got a first-round draft pick for him. Then Jimmy Garoppolo, who they call Jimmy GQ, because he's just like the most handsome man you've ever seen, was a backup quarterback for the Patriots. Winds up playing a few games for Tom Brady, and then was really good because the team was good. And then they got another first-round pick for a backup quarterback. So the Patriots were like a little quarterback factory of mediocre quarterbacks that were highly drafted or got good trade value. So again, I said earlier that the Raiders shipped off Derek Carr and they brought in Jimmy Garoppolo. So I'm not even sure that's an upgrade. I don't know, Garoppolo versus Carr. I mean, who's better? I don't know. But I did go and say that Derek Carr would get better stats this year than Jimmy GQ.
Well, and if the Raiders don't win anything, at least they'll win the award for best-looking quarterback in the NFL. So even if it's a bad game, at least you have something to look at.
All right, last one.
San Diego Chargers, or better known as the Los Angeles Chargers now. They're starting.
San Diego to me.
It's hard to redefine teams like that. The places that I've been, right? So I used to go watch the Chargers play every year for like 5 years because they would play the Broncos in the perfect season. I love going to San Diego in November, December, because wherever you're living is probably cold, where I was. And then you'd get to go straight to the beach and sit on Mission Beach, and you get to go over to Qualcomm Stadium, which was an old stadium. It was all concrete, but because of it, it had cheap tickets. You could get great seats, and it was so affordable, and I will miss that. Now you can go to the Los Angeles Chargers inside of a concrete jungle, and good luck finding parking.
Not only that, but the tickets are a fortune and everything else. The problem with San Diego is, well, L.A. Chargers, is that they don't have any fans. So you're right. When you would go to a game, and you and I have been to several in San Diego, there were no Chargers fans. So the whole stadium is wearing orange jerseys. You went to a Packers game there once, didn't you? And I imagine it was all green and yellow.
There was only as many cheeseheads as there, were Chargers fans, and we're in like San Diego. Yeah. The tickets are cheap.
And then what was really fun, it was when the game was over, all the Chargers fans go home, and all the road team fans, whether it be the Packers or the Broncos, are in town partying it up, having a good old time. So, of course, we're all visiting, so we're in town partying it up, and it's full of Bronco fans or full of Packers fans or whatever. It was the greatest road experience for a game ever.
It was a great place to watch games. Unfortunately, it's gone now. But let's talk about Justin Herbert.
He's good.
Is he? Well, he was drafted by the Chargers in 2020, so he's new to the game. He became a starting quarterback in the second game of his rookie year. He wasn't even a starter, so they took him in, and they put him on backup, and they said, you can learn something here, and then after one game, he was in, and he was their starter. He was named Offensive Rookie of the Year that year, and this is going to be his third year starting. Last year, he threw for 25 touchdowns. He ran in 0. I love to see it. And 10 interceptions, but under the 2-1. And they did go to the playoffs.
Not bad. A lot of folks blame his somewhat lackluster performance last year on their head coach, which curiously now is the Broncos offensive coordinator, but we'll see how that goes. I wouldn't think Peyton Manning would bring in a loser, but anyway, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was scheme or whatever, but he's good. He went to Oregon. That was where he went to college, so man, I wish we could have drafted him, but he could be a star. So there you go. Another great quarterback in the AFC West. We got Mahomes, Justin. Well, we don't have to worry too much about Jimmy, but all right, who's next?
No one. That's it. That's all 32 teams in the NFL.
Well, you went through a lot.
How do you guys feel? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Do we feel like we said too much? Maybe we didn't say enough. But I think that we got it covered. And I think that you guys understand a little bit more about the quarterbacks and who they are and what teams they're on than when we started.
Yeah, so we went through, that was a bit. So I think it was a great exercise. If it wasn't the most exciting thing for the stream, it certainly was a good exercise for us to go through. But again, we've got the pick 'em pool. Now you know a little bit about the quarterbacks, and if you're completely lost, you can go back and rewind this long discussion on quarterbacks and find out who you should be picking. But we got a few minutes left, and we're going to trim a little bit of content because of time. But I did want to go over one other thing, Corey, if you don't mind, if I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to be looking at something?
Mm-hmm. Why do you keep talking about what you were going to say?
Okay, so we were going to talk about, last week we were talking about under-overs, and under-overs were deal with total points in a game. But there's also, at the beginning of the season, an under-over on the number of wins that any given team will have. So Vegas puts out these odds, or not odds, but the under-over on the expected number of wins per team. And maybe what we could do is post this, maybe we'll put it on Wednesday Night Lights so that when people are making picks, they can kind of get a feel for who's supposed to be really good. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll pick off the top ones here. So, for instance, the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Eagles are all 11.5 wins. So we got a half point there. So if they have 12 wins or more, you're going to win that bet if you take the over. If they have 11 wins or less, you're going to win that bet if you take the under. So, Vegas is saying these guys are going to win 11, 12 games. That's a pretty good season. Let's see here at the bottom, we have the very worst is the Cardinals. We talked about that, 4.5 wins. So nobody's expecting them to have a very good year.
Nobody expects them to win 5 out of 16 games.
5 out of 17 games. Yeah, so that's not going to go well. Also at the bottom, Washington Commanders, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, both 6.5. Quite a few at 6.5 wins. The Texans, the Colts, the Raiders. Oh, just stop there for a second. Let me just bask in the glow. The Rams, the Buccaneers, and the Commanders are all over at 6.5 wins. So the Raiders could win more than 6.5 games, I suppose. But it's kind of surprising to see the Rams way down there. One of the problems with the Rams is their star receiver isn't going to be playing for several games of the year. Cooper, what's his name? Cooper. Anyway, he's hurt. And in the Broncos are at 8.5, so that's not bad. So
I love being on top of the Raiders.
Yeah, 2 more wins. Cup, that's it. Cooper Cup. Anybody in chat want to know how their team is projected to do this year?
Hang on. So that's what we're going to call the dog pile, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's podcast. We've had so much fun, and there's been so much information that if you need to, it's okay to go back and watch this again.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you so much for joining us on this at this time, and we hope to see you guys again.
Signing off.
Okay, no, not out of stream. That was just for the podcast. That's why I wanted to stop you before we started talking to chat, because now we're just live. So the podcast is done. All right, welcome to the post show.
The post-game show.
Oh, this is what happens when you come live. You get to come to the post show. There's another show. All right, now let's ask chat. Do you guys want to know where your team is? Do you guys want to be on my pod? No one tipped throughout the podcast, so nobody got a shout out. But that's okay. You could always get on next week's shout out. I do have really cool wall art for you guys, and my dad brought a really neat hat. And if you want to do something really crazy, you're going to give Mr. Too Rough for You a surprise he won't like.
Yeah, I won't like that at all. Now, don't go running off, folks. We're still here. Corey's just doing a break with the podcast. So we got to post that out on the podcast.
Spotify. That is the part that you will find on Spotify, and this part that you guys are here with is what you'll find on Twitch, obviously, and on YouTube.
No, not a Cowboys jersey. You got to listen. You got to hear who I'm capping on, and then it might become clear.
I think.
But Cowboys would be tough, but I don't really hate the Cowboys. Oh, somebody's thinking they might have an answer.
I was thinking a little something too. I have a little question for you.
Me?
Let's see how good you are at the information you learned today.
Me or chat?
You, Mr. Andrew.
Okay.
Do you have a beer with
All
you?
right. I do.
All right.
Sure.
You have to answer quick, or you have to drink. Who's the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys?
Dak Prescott.
Nice.
Oh, it's a drinking contest.
We'll do a little drinking game here, yeah.
Okay,
well,
I like it.
Welcome to the post-game drinking show. Who is the put the I know you've got the document up. Go ahead and put that all the way down.
Well, I wasn't looking at it, but yes, you're right. It's there. But I'm down on the under/over, so I can't even see the quarterback.
All right, who is the quarterback for the New York Giants?
Daniel Jones.
Nice. Quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Jalen Hurts.
Quarterback for the Commanders.
Oh man, the quarterback for the Commanders is the guy I said nobody's heard of. So who?
Sam Howell. How could you forget him?
Oh yeah, Howell. Yeah, the famous Howell.
The famous Samuel Howell.
Sam Howell. Oh yeah. How could I have forgotten?
The Washington Redskins have officially been renamed to the Washington Commanders. For those of you who don't know in chat. Even Redskins was flagged as in chat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well.
All right. Who is the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers?
Jordan Love.
Okay, we love to love, huh?
Got to love.
Got some love over here. Who's the
That was a pretty good trivia answer because he hadn't played, he hadn't really played for the Packers yet. But go ahead.
It is good. Okay, who's the Minnesota Vikings quarterback?
Kirk Cousins.
Wow, you were quick on that one, weren't you?
Yeah. Boy, when he went to Minnesota, when he was in that transition and getting a deal, God, I wanted him to be a Bronco. I thought he'd fit well with us, but no. He became a Viking.
I have to grab another beer since you know so many quarterbacks.
Okay. Warren Moon. Do you remember who Warren Moon played with? I think he only played with one team. Sam Howell. Warren Moon played for. Team doesn't even exist anymore. Yep, Oilers. Who are the Oilers now? No.
What's up?
I'm just having fun with you.
Okay, good.
Somebody mentioned Warren Moon, and I said, where'd they play? And then I said, okay, and they were right, Houston Oilers, and now they're the Titans, right? Very good.
Look at you guys go.
Okay.
Smarties.
Back to the drinking game, because I sobered up while you were gone.
Oh, good. So. Chicago Bears.
Fields.
Nice.
2. Justin Fields.
There it is. Detroit Lions.
Jared Goff.
I knew you would know that one because you've said his name so many times tonight.
Well, 2 teams, so he got mentioned twice.
I know, but I knew that it would stick with you on that one. Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You got the crickets chirping sound effect.
Oh, did you like that?
Tampa Bay. Not Tom Brady. I don't know. I don't remember. I think it's a rookie.
Drink. He is a rookie-ish.
Okay.
I mean, he was drafted in 2018, then he was traded to the Panthers in 2022. At the end of last season, he switched to the Rams.
Anthony Brown, yeah. See, chat's way ahead of me.
It's Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield.
Come on. Woo.
Yeah, the only thing he's really been known for are those progressive commercials where he was in the stadium. It was like Baker's house or something, but it was the stadium. I mean, they're clever, but, come on, throw the ball.
All right, Carolina Panthers.
First pick, Bryce Young.
Woo! You got it! All right.
Got it.
What team does Derek Carr play for this year?
Saints.
Nice. What about Desmond Ryder?
He's playing in the NFL. He was drafted by a team.
He was? He was drafted by the same team he still plays for.
Colts?
Atlanta Falcons.
God. We spent all this time writing all this content. I only got like 6 brain cells left. So.
Can you tell me what team Brock Purdy plays for?
Oh, that's easy. That's Mr. Irrelevant plays for the 49ers.
Mr. Relevant now.
Yeah, I get a lot of 49ers exposure out here. I don't have to like it, but it happens.
Who's the starting quarterback for the Rams?
Matthew Stafford.
Nice.
Formerly of the Lions.
Who does Kyler Murray play for?
Cardinals.
Wow, nice.
I see you're changing it up on me here.
A little bit. I don't want it to, how that muscle memory works, or when you start to see something, or so you'll know team then quarterback, because that's how we have it all written out. So I was wondering if you could take quarterback to team and really test your knowledge and tell me that you've learned something today.
Kurt Warner, see that?
All right.
Kurt Warner there.
Who is the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks?
Geno Smith. And from your research today, we found out that he's been all over the place. Drafted by the Jets.
Oh my God, everywhere.
Went to the Chargers, right?
Giants.
Did you say he was a Chargers for?
Giants and then a Charger.
Right, so he's sitting in New York as a Jet. Then they come in and tell him, "Oh, we traded you," and he's going, "Oh my God, where do I got to move?" And they go, "Well, you got to move about a mile to the New York Giants."
It's like, all right.
Then they say, "Okay, we're going to trade you again." He's, "Oh, great, I'm going back to the Jets." And they go, "No, you're going all the way across the country to L.A. or San Diego."
To the Chargers. They were still the Chargers then. So even right there.
Yeah. Now you're up to Seattle.
Who does Aaron Rodgers play for now?
Who?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, did you just burp?
A little bit, yeah.
That is a penalty.
It's a beer penalty.
It's a beer penalty.
Yeah.
Not handling your liquor. He plays for the Jets now.
He does play for Allstate. How'd you know? He does play.
He plays for Allstate, yeah. No, it's State Farm, isn't it? Aaron Rodgers? No, I guess that's Patrick Mahomes.
What team did I dub as the Los Vagabonds today?
The Vagabonds?
Yeah, I called them
the clue is the Los Vagabonds.
the
That's
Los
gotta be,
Vagabonds.
Vegas.
Yeah, the Las
Right.
the Los Vagabonds. I mean Vegas team.
That's pretty good. Las Vegas Vagabonds.
Oh, I can't wait. Who's the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins?
Oh my God.
And if you don't say his name, you don't get the points.
Tula. Oh God! I watched somebody on YouTube pronounce his name for like 5 minutes today, and Troy Tula.
It's not Troy Tulowitzki.
I can't do it. I feel so bad too because God, I feel bad. I'm sorry, Tua.
It's Tua
Viola. I think that is correct there.
Tunga Viola.
I guess I got a drink on that one.
Tua Tunga Viola. Viola.
Boy, how long did you wait? You were just dying to bring me that.
I couldn't wait. Yeah. Did you
Why
drink?
didn't you say who does Tula play for? That would have been.
Because I wanted you to have to say it.
That would have been nice.
Ooh, who is this starting quarterback for the New England Patriots?
Jones, Mac Jones.
I'm impressed.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm very impressed.
And he was the one I had said was probably the most forgettable.
Yawn. Just kidding.
What was Testaverde's first name? I'm looking at chat here. What was his first name?
Tua?
No, Testaverde. He was a Jet. Denny. Yep, that's right. Okay.
All right. What team does Josh Allen play for?
Josh Allen plays for the Bills.
Why did you say it like I was talking about a different Josh? And then you were like, Josh Allen?
In the same draft, there was a guy named Josh Rosen.
Oh, okay.
So I always get those two. I think it was the same draft, too. So I don't think Rosen's playing. The Buffies. The Vinny Buffies.
Who's the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns?
The name not to be said because of his sexual abuse.
Yeah, he's awful. I don't understand why there's not protests to throw him out of the NFL. $230 million to 23 counts of sexual abuse.
Well,
They almost paid him out $1 million per charge he had in the courts.
Well, it's talent versus behavior, I guess, because the guy's good, but like you said, how many Super Bowls has he got to bring you to forgive him? I don't know.
There's no forgiving, first of all.
Well, the NFL has been trying really hard to get more women into the game. When that running back.
Well, yeah, so you should keep making your starting quarterbacks women abusers and giving them literally $1 million for every single charge against women brought to them in a courtroom.
Yeah.
23 counts. I'm sorry. $10 million per count.
Well,
NFL, try harder. You're not doing enough. That's literally the bar on the ground, is hoping to win enough Super Bowls to forgive someone of abuse.
Yeah,
That's
Watson.
not okay. Good job, Deshaun. You're bringing the team down and the sport for everyone.
Well, it kind of made us forget about Michael Vick and his dogfighting, transgressions.
Who, Kibbles and Vicks?
Michael Vick, years ago.
I said
Falcons.
who? Kibbles and Vicks?
Got it. All right. A little slow. Penalty for being slow, not getting a joke.
It's okay. I guess I should run those back.
Speaking of which, last week you made a joke, and I was like reading notes or something, and I completely missed it. And
Was it funny?
I was watching the rebroadcast to see what I could do better, and I looked at the rebroadcast. And I go, oh my God, I didn't even laugh at her joke.
It's okay. I don't have to be funny all the time.
Michael Vick, yeah, he was a mobile quarterback, ran like the wind, dogfighting, you know, probably not real cool, but long ways away from sexual abuse. Was he with Atlanta when he got done with that, or did he go to Atlanta after?
I think that was
Anybody
after.
in chat remember? Was he with
I'm not
Atlanta
in
when
chat,
he
but I
did-
think it happened after. Shamrock, thank you for being our very first supporter today.
Oh, look at that. We got wall art. Awesome.
Who's the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Oh, for the Steelers, that guy from Pittsburgh University. Or,
3,
not Pittsburgh.
2.
Kenny Pickett.
There it is.
OJ. He was the most famous football player during his time, and man, was that a fall from grace. And Roethlisberger. Actually, let's try to fit that in on the back of your jersey. Oh, that looks good right there, right over the W.
I want him over here so I can point to him.
Okay. Because we're going to have like 1,000 of those on the wall by the end of the
Hopefully. Welcome.
Yeah.
See, and look, now I can do this.
Ta-da.
Welcome to the team. You can Vanna White it.
A little Vanna White.
Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think he plays anymore. So you
Somebody
got
talking
Kenny
about
Pickett.
rookie.
So cheers.
Thank you. So you were talking about, really good rookie quarterbacks to start their first year. Ben Roethlisberger went 15-1 his first year.
I'm not surprised. He was a force to be reckoned with in his career.
15-1. I hope that's right. I hope I don't have to correct myself next week. I'm pretty sure that's right. I'd bet $100.
What are the odds on that?
I don't know.
We kid.
Bet
We
nobody
don't.
bet me.
We're
I'm not taking
kidding.
bets.
We don't bet here.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
that was
Who
big
does?
money. That was
Who does?
Bernard.
Who's the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals?
Joe Burrow. Cool
Yeah.
Joe. Joe Cool.
Joe Cool.
Oh, I said cool. Cool Joe. I'm not drinking.
Not Cool Joe, but Joe Cool. All
Cool
right.
Joe.
And Lamar Jackson plays for what team?
Who?
Lamar Jackson.
Oh, he is a Baltimore Raven.
Yeah, he is. You're doing pretty
How did
good.
I got a reverse trivia question for you. How did the Baltimore Ravens become called the Ravens? What's the significance there?
Sure, it has something to do
You
with
check.
it.
You check.
I think it has something to do with Edgar Allan Poe, because that's the
Yeah,
name.
it does. Very good. The Raven. His
Because
famous
the
poem.
three ravens, the raven is the poem it's named after, and their mascot is three birds named Edgar Allan and Poe.
That is, whoa! I picked the wrong trivia question, didn't I? Man, yeah. And so what's with Edgar Allan Poe in Baltimore? What's that all about?
That I don't know. Is he from there?
I think he was born there. Yeah. Edgar Allan Poe. What a cool name. I think I want to change my name to Edgar Allan Poe. It's a cool name.
He was the first poet I ever read. I read he had a poem. I'm not sure what it's called, but I can only remember the first few lines because I think it's called The Night, but it's like In the Forest of the Night was the name of the book, and the book started with his poem. Can anybody guess what that book was about? A young girl reading a book out of her own volition. It was about vampires. In a cemetery. Yeah, no, the book is about vampires.
Yeah, okay.
It's actually a great
The
read.
original Twilight, right?
Way better than Twilight, but that's just my personal feelings. But that's because I've never, to this day, I own them all, but I've never finished a Twilight book because it's the most boring thing I've ever read. Bella is not more interesting off camera. Anyways, who is the quarterback for the Indy? The Colts. Who's their quarterback?
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get his first name, but now I'm trying to remember his last name. It's Anthony. Anthony Brown. I don't know.
Richardson.
Anthony Richardson. But half a drink because I got his first name.
That wasn't even half a drink.
Because I got his first name.
Okay. Who's the quarterback for the Houston Texans?
TJ Stroud?
Wow, that's good. That was pretty good.
That was good.
I'm gonna drink twice for that.
And my previous half drink.
Wes Craven, everything is better. Tennessee Titans.
Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah. Who was their last quarterback?
Marcus Mariota.
Good job. It's not right.
Wow. Yeah, no, I'm not even in fantasy football.
Isn't it Derrick Henry?
How I know this, I don't know. What?
Who's Derrick Henry?
He is the amazing running back for Tennessee.
Oh.
I mean, this guy is a bruiser.
Okay. And Trevor Lawrence plays for what team?
Who?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. I thought you said Lawrence.
I did.
Plays for the...
because the last one was Richardson. Don't worry about it.
And I still got it, and it's Jacksonville.
Oh, all right. And
Jaguar.
if you could pick any quarterback out of the 32 teams, who would you pick to be the quarterback of the Denver Broncos?
Oh, there's just no question.
Oh.
There's this guy, and then there's the next guy who's also really good. So Patrick Mahomes. I mean, how could you not?
Well, and he's young. He's still got a lot of career ahead of him.
Yeah, well, he is pretty young. I think it's only like 6 years or so. Mm-hmm. He's got 10 years left of beating the Broncos. My second choice would probably be probably Trevor Lawrence.
Really?
I think he'd fit great with Sean Payton.
All right.
You know, that's the thing about Patrick Mahomes. You know, he's great. There's no doubt. He's got all the talent in the world. And I mean, that guy, you know, he's running over here and he just throws like this. He's not even looking at anybody, and it goes directly to the person that's wide open. So he's just phenomenal. But you know, another benefit he has is Andy Reid is his quarterback, who it's a perfect fit, and Eric Bieniemy, their offensive coordinator. The three of them. The Broncos haven't beat the Chiefs in 15 consecutive games. 1-5. And we're going to do it this year. We're going to break the streak and start a new one probably. Okay, what you got? You want me to do a couple at you, or have you done all 32?
There's only 2 left, and I know who they are because I'm looking at it.
Okay.
The Las Vegas Raiders have the best-looking quarterback in the NFL. What's his name?
The best-looking quarterback in the NFL is Jimmy GQ.
I'm into it. He's so cute.
Hey, I tell you, I'm you know.
How hard would that be, though? To
I think I would date him. I think I would, because he's that kind of looking a man.
Now, when your new boo asks you to come support him at his game, what are you going to wear?
Well, a Bronco shirt, of course.
Who are you here for?
Somebody.
One time do you remember when we went to a game? I think it was in San Diego, but we left out of, I don't want to say what city's airport we left out of, but it's the one right next to you. And a certain player's entire family was on our plane, and we could tell because we look over at 6 tall, fit, looking like they could play in the NFL, just big, strong people, and every single one of them is just wearing these jerseys just signed, just like the merch that they're wearing was insane.
Not only were they on our flight, but they were standing right behind us when we were waiting in line. Yeah, so it's
so we're all
Julian. Well, and here's the other thing. You're talking about how, we're looking at this family going, my God, what an athletic family.
We couldn't tell if they were so athletic.
People were women.
Yeah, they were women. They were 6'2", fit women.
Yeah.
Like, they were, like, they look like if you tripped on them, you better apologize quickly before someone beats your ass. Like, it was, so we're all staring at it, like, oh my god, this team, I was like, they could take this plane from us, they're so strong. We're like just all impressed by their physical attributes until we zone in and realize everything they're wearing is signed, and they were one of our starting players' family members going to the game.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
And it was the last year of his rookie deal, and I was talking to his dad on the flight, and he goes, "Yeah, we're getting paid this year." So the Broncos wound up signing him, Orange Julius. What the hell was his name? How do I not remember a great Bronco? I remember his nickname was Orange Julius, because that was, we're orange, obviously, and Julius. Let me chat. Oh God,
I remember knowing the player too, and I can't pull it out of my memory right now.
Anyway, so he was going to come up with his,
Thomas.
Julius Thomas, right? So he got paid. But then on his next contract, he was just like superstar, and there was no way we were going to be able to afford him, and we couldn't sign him again, and off he went. And I can't remember where he went, but I don't think he had I think he went to Jacksonville. I remember right. And he didn't have a great. Well,
if he's still there, he's going to have a good quarterback coming in, and maybe he can make some plays this season.
Well, and if Peyton Manning is throwing passes to you, you're probably going to have a pretty good year.
Yep. You hear that, Russell? I know Russell Wilson's watching this podcast.
Yeah, Russ.
So many great things we've said about him.
That's your bar. 55 touchdowns. That's the bar.
I'd settle for 35.
I would settle for 35. That'd be a good year. 35 touchdowns, say 9 interceptions. That would be, we would win 10 games if he did that.
That'd be a pretty good season. We're going to the playoffs, and it's not in a wild card seat. Well, I lied. We still got to go against Mahomes. It might be.
Well, if we make the playoffs, it's going to be a wild card because Kansas City is going to win the division. They're just going to win the division for the next 10 years.
We don't know that yet.
Let's just say it feels like okay. So
it definitely feels like that.
Hit him in the knee. If we hit him right in the knee.
I don't support injuring professional athletes. These people are. I mean, these are lives that we're talking about. It's so easy to get swept up in the sport, right? It's so easy to be like, fuck that team, break a leg, whatever it takes to win this game. Well, that is a human. That is a professional athlete who has devoted so much of their life to this, and we're just getting drunk screaming at a TV. So protect yourselves, play the game. It's a sport. At the end of the day, you've already got your guaranteed money. Protect yourselves. I wanted to say this earlier about Andrew Luck. Yeah, you know what? You lucked out. That sucks that you didn't get to keep a good quarterback for a long time. But, I mean, props to Luck for knowing his limits and saying this is enough, and I don't need to, it's not worth my life for a new paycheck. Because that is very real and very important in the world of football, is how many people, I mean, their post-careers, on how much their career did to them, their post-career, like their health is just constantly in decline. They have a lot of issues.
Yeah, I think I saw that the average career in the NFL is about 3 years. Yeah, of course, some guys play 15, 16 years, but the average, 3 years. Like you said, that's a lot of devotion in your life to get to play the sport you're, the very top of what you're trying to reach in 3 years. So, that's not a lot of time to make a lot of money. And those first 3 years, that's your rookie contract. You don't get the mega millions on your rookie deal.
You got your signing bonus. That was nice because you probably got out of college, you're out of your dorm room and into hopefully a house with that signing bonus, and you didn't, go down the stripper and cocaine path with it.
Well, first round picks probably get a 4-year deal for about $15 million or so. I mean, it's not like it's chump change.
It's not chump change, but you've gone from a college student to a $15 million. So even if you only, don't get me wrong, $15 million is a lot of money, but you only get this 115 for 4 years. You have to make that work. You're very busy, and all of a sudden you've gone from poor college student to a millionaire. You got to find the line on how to take where your life is going to go, because there's going to be huge changes that year.
So that first contract is kind of set in stone. There's really no negotiating that goes on with it. I mean, based on where you're drafted, you get a contract for that amount of money. And like I said, it's a couple of $1 million a year, so it's not like it's chump change. But if you survive that first rookie contract, so your fourth or fifth year, I mean, they go 5 years, but the fifth year is an option year. And if you're really good, you're going to get a new contract in your fourth year. That's where you go from a few million a year to tens of millions a year, and that's the big payout, and that could be in any position. You could get, an 8-figure, is that right? 6-7-figure contract in just about any position in football if you're good. But actually, that kind of is a good segue to next week when we'll be talking about things like how the game is played, what are the positions, what does it mean when stuff happens, you hear about it, they're throwing flags, and what does that even mean? I'm just really looking forward to next week's content, because that's where I really learned to appreciate the game, because I understood it better. And that's, from the very basics to, getting a little deeper. We're not going to talk about every little nuance, but I'm really looking forward to next week.
I am too. And you guys can find us here on Twitch Wednesdays, every Wednesday from 4 to 6. You can find the uploads on YouTube on Thursdays, and you can find them again on Spotify under Wednesday Night Lights. All of those things are connected to our website. Go to WednesdayNightLights.com. Find out all the information you need to know, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. But
if you enjoyed tonight's content, tell your friends, tell your parents, your kids, your friends, whoever, come on in. And you get to share with me the time I get to share with my daughter. So that's just an awesome day.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here with us. We really appreciate it. We've had a huge turnout tonight, and we are so appreciative of everyone who was here. And we'll see you next week.
Enjoy the games. They start tomorrow night.
Good night, everyone. Make your picks. Go make picks. Go make your picks. Picks. Good night.
Love you, sweetie.